Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Respected Mahasangha, dear devotees. Are you all full?
Yes.
We have food? Yes? Before we start, let us all do the loving kindness meditation for a little. Okay. So let us sit straight, relax, and now take your left hand, put over your heart, and the right hand on top. Gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Now feel each and every heartbeat within your heart. Just pay attention to it. Now imagine your face by your heart. Give yourself a smile looking at you within your heart. And keep on feeling your heartbeat. Don't force your breath. Okay, relax. Thank you. How was it? Will you be able to focus? Focus within your heartbeat? And how many times in our life that we actually take time to do this for ourselves? Barely? Or never? Because we are way too busy, right? Busy with family, busy with work, busy with school, busy with everything. For that reason, we totally forgot ourselves. And that is why we suffer, that I always say, that is the reason why we suffer so much. But when we be able just to let go of everything, just to stay focused within our heartbeat, we can feel ourselves. We can see ourselves. That is when peace begins. it's so difficult for so many people because they don't believe in this. Even if they, sometimes even if they believe, it's just a temporary belief. And everything just vanishes within a short time when they don't get the result. Sadly, that is how we live in this world. We want everything quick and fast. We don't want anything, we don't want anything that is slowly come. We want it quick, like fast food. And the more we do that, the more we suffer. But we didn't realize that. We didn't realize it. We keep on chasing after it. We keep on doing that non-stop. And then we spread that, we deliver that message to our kids, our future generations, because they are looking at us every day. Right? They are looking up to us every day, seeing us how we live, how we interact, how we talk, how we react when things happen. And everything recorded into their mind. It's recorded just like a hard drive on the computer. Everything that we type on that keyboard, it will automatically record it. Right? Key lock recorded into the hard drive, and then when we need it, we can just recover from that. So the kids are looking up to us and they see us live that way and they follow the same path. In Asian, we always say the horse is always going on the same path. Right? When the horse already walk on one path, it's create a pattern, and every time when it comes to that location, they're just going to follow that path over and over. We are the same. We repeat it ourselves. We live this way, and we want our kids to do the same. And that is how we suffer, and we want our kids to suffer the same way. And a lot of parents also wanted all kids to get married. When they don't have any partner, and we worry, right? We want them to get married and have kids. But we are not realizing that we are pushing them to their suffering. Because we are suffer, now we want them to suffer the same way. Right? Are we not? We struggle with family, with husband and wife. But now when our kids doesn't want to get married, we want them to get married. When they don't, we get mad. It means that we want them to struggle the same way. Hey, look, I already suffer. Now it's your turn. That's what we do to our kids, our future generation. Why do I say that? It's because they don't have to repeat that struggle of life. Getting married. When if they are lucky enough and fortunate enough, they will find one partner which is very grateful and love them. But if not, what's going to happen? They suffer. But even if they find somebody that loves them so much, they still suffer. The other person also suffer because trying to protect that person because afraid that he or she will lose that person. Right? So this circle of life, we are in this samsara circle of life, we are repeating ourselves like that, and we want our kids to be the same. And every day we live unmindful because of unmindful, we create a lot of unwholesome deeds. And all those unwholesome deeds will follow us life after life. Whatever that we have right now, these clothing and all, anything that externally, material, we have to let it go when we die. But only those wholesome deeds can go to the next life, come along with us every life. You know, when in Fort Worth, Texas, I go to funeral a lot to chant for the Sikh people. And in Theravada tradition, we don't have that. In Theravada tradition, we don't go out to chant for the Sikh people because once that person died, that's it. Go to the next one. Even if we chant our whole life, that person cannot get anything. But the chanting means that to remind the people who are still alive that, see, that is impermanent. One day you will lie there just like this body. That is how we chant, and that is what we wanted to deliver the message to the people who are still alive, that look at that. Because of impermanence, this person passed away. So do we. And for that reason, you must be mindful while you still have this breath going in and out. Don't waste your time, don't waste your life. That's how we try to show them. And then Asian, we cry a lot when our loved one passed away. I'm not sure about American, but Asian, we cry a lot, especially Vietnamese. We cry so much. And I asked, why do you cry so much? They said, because I love my father, I love my mother, they passed away. And I said, that's not true love. That's also fake. And then, before I go there, I want to tell you one thing. In Chinese and Vietnamese tradition, and we still have the way of thinking that when our parents die, our loved one die, we put rice and go into the mouth, their mouth. I don't know why. But then, ring and things like that, they want to open the mouth and put the ring, go inside the mouth. And they couldn't do it. They asked me to do it. That's decades. I asked why you can't do it. They said they're afraid. See how sad it is? It's because I repeat this so many times. Regardless of how much we tell that person that we love them so much, but at the end, when that dead body lying there, 1 day, 2 days, it's okay. 3 days, we try to stay away. Here they have all kind of chemical and the way to take care of that body, corpse. But then in Asian country, after die, still right away because of the smell. Right? And so we try to stay away. Then where's that love? Where is it now? We try to stay away from that corpse. You see, even how much we love that person, but when that person passed away, this body became something that is so awful because of the smell and all those. And that love that we promised is also gone. Also gone. And I always said, it's because you love yourself, it's not that you love that person. It's because every time in your life when you encounter challenge, difficulties, you have no one else to come to but your parents. You always come to your parents and cry and lean on their shoulder and cry and beg them to help you. Whenever you need the most, they are always there for you. And so now they no longer exist. You don't have that ability, you don't have that person by your side anymore, so you can lean on and ask for help. That is why you cry. At the end, we still love ourselves. That's the fact. But we love ourselves just because of expectation. We want this and we want that in life, which is also brings suffering to ourselves as well. We still in that suffering circle. We cannot escape. But why do people, us, we keep on repeating that so we continue suffering? That is a big question. And not many of us realize that. Even if we realize, we don't really take that seriously. And so we create and we put a lot of rocks into a really big bag and we carry it on our shoulder every day. What are those rocks? Worry, sadness, stress, money, health, kids, husband, wife, mother, father, friends, all kind of things. We keep on putting each and every rock into that bag and we carry that on our shoulder every day. We walk every day with the bag of rock. How heavy it is? Very heavy, right? It means that we have all kinds of defilements in our mind. All kinds of defilements. Stress, anxiety, depression, all those kinds we have. We barely have a peaceful moment. We barely have a happy moment. When we smile, that is not really a smile either. Fortune. Is that the life that we really want to live, or we want a better life? Of course we want a better life. But how do we get that better life? That is something that we need to work on. Instead of collecting burden rocks and putting to that bag and carry, now we also collecting some kind of gems, not rocks. Gems, okay? We need to collect those and build our own island. We need to have some kind of gem that is value enough to build an island for ourselves. It means that our minds always be pure, calm, silent, and loving, compassion, all those things. And when people say something to us, instead of reacting with anger and things like that, now we just give them a smile. We collect one gem. Is that right? How easy that is. No, it's not hard. That is so easy. When people throw a rock at you, instead of you collect that rock and put into that bag, now you need to convert that rock into a gem. Because rock also becomes gem if we know how to make it into a gem, right? need to carve that outside layer by each layer, and it will become a gem. So now when they throw that rock at us, instead of, oh, thank you for that rock, I have a new rock to put in my bag. Now, instead of doing that, we convert that rock into a gem, little gem. Means that we, instead of react with anger, we react with kindness. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to cultivate merit. Of course, who in this world would give us that opportunity? Nobody giving us that opportunity. But those people who always throwing rocks at us, they are our helper. They are the one who very well and very fortunately that they are giving us that opportunity for us to convert it, for us to cultivate and collect merits. Without them, we can't. We don't have the ability, we don't have that chance to gain merit. Is that right? If he don't shout at you, how can you practice patience and loving kindness? If he don't curse at you, how can we practice patience and loving kindness and compassion? If he don't hit you, how can we practice forgiveness? Giving that person a chance and giving us a chance. See? So, in a negative way, there's always a positive way following after, if we know how to convert it. It's just that we have to be mindful enough to see that monkey mind when it's react. Right at that moment, it's so quick. So quick right at that moment when the rock thrown directly to our face, that monkey mind, that anger rises right away. When it rises, we feel the burning sensation right here by our chest, right? If we don't see it right there at that moment, then we will follow that and react with fire. But now, when we see that fire is about to burn, is about to get bigger, see it right there, right away. When you see it, you feel it, oh, it's burning. This sensation is not so good. It's not desirable. I don't like this feeling. I will not live with this feeling. Let it go. Take a deep breath. Earlier we just did. Take a deep breath. Feel your heartbeat. By that moment, you will feel your heartbeat, you will know how fast it is. It's pumping like this, right? When we get angry, our heart beats really fast. But when you are calm, it just slowly like this. Is that true? So now, when anger arises, you see that sensation, that anger, that fire, that burning sensations within our chest. You know that your heart rate is faster and faster. That is when you need to take action right away. Take a deep breath. Fill your lungs with that air. Fill it up. When you breathe out, relax, relax. You will see your heart rate will drop. It will slowly drop down, and you will be back to normal. That is when we already converted that rock into a gem. Now we have one gem. Okay? Put it into this glass of water where you collect gems every day. Every day, when you collect I always make a sample of this cup with a lit shield. Okay? Every time when you collect one gem, put into this cup, seal it. Keep on collecting until it's full. But on the way, remember, on the way, it's always so easy for us just to pour this alcohol on the ground because of unmindful, we react with anger, Just one anger, we could ruin the whole thing that we did collect. We just pour it on the ground, just like water. Instead, a piece of gin or a drop of water into here and then seal it, keep it. Don't let it fly away, don't let it escape. But then we always, because of unmindful, we always react with anger, delusion, and greed, and things like that. It means that we wasted what we have been cultivated. So now we have to start over again. But still, we still be able to start over again rather than nothing. Right? And so when we keep on collecting gems like that, until one point to the point that we have enough to build our own island. The Buddha said, you have to build your own island. Right? We cannot just wait for somebody else to build the island for us to live. Peace is the same way. We cannot sit here and wait for the government, the president, or the world leader to build the world, to make the world to be a peace for us to live. That's never going to happen. If we don't work towards it, it will never happen. This world will just like that, fighting, conflict, division, and all of those things, spreading each and every day. Why is that? Because of greed, because of power, because of all those things. And because of us, we also want something out of this world. What is that? Fame, power, money, husband and wife, kids, all those things. And when we cannot get it, we suffer and we start to create more suffering for the others. That is why this world can never be peace. For that reason, we, part of this world, we have to start from ourselves first. To change this world, we always have to start it from ourselves. By converting rocks into gem, living mindfully with our own thoughts, our own speech and work and actions. That is when the world will slowly change. Otherwise, we will continue suffering. But after the walk of peace up until now, I truly feel this way. There were so many people already out of that ring where we always drawn by division, conflicts, and war, and news, and things like that. Now a lot of us already escaped from that. We are not easily drawn by those anymore. We know how to keep ourselves at peace. We know how to build peace for ourselves. Is that right? We have the way, we know the meaning behind this life. That's why we all continue practicing mindfulness to have peace for ourselves. The more peaceful people exist in this world, the more this world will become peaceful. And that's how we spread peace. By practicing mindfully. And this is the topic that today I would like to share with you. It means that regardless of what happened in our life, we always have a choice to receive it as a rock or a gem. It all depends on us. It's still the same thing. Cursing, hitting, shouting, anything. It's the same scenario, same thing. But when the receiving person have a choice to receive that as a burden on the shoulder, put in a rock into that bag and carry, or a piece of gems, it all depends on us. So which one we each want to choose? Gem. They are beautiful, isn't it? Who doesn't love gems? So may you always be mindful with your thoughts and your words and your action, and to have a better life, and that is the way to guide our kids to the better world as well. So now your time for questions, Q&A, if you have any.
What motivated you? What motivated you to do the Walk for Peace from Texas to DC? I followed this every step of the way. What was your inspiration, Bhante?
Suffering happens around me where I live in Fort Worth, Texas, especially the COVID-19. I've seen so much suffering. And then I traveled to do disaster relief in Uganda. And so I also went to prison to teach meditation. I've seen a lot of sufferings like that. And people can't even control their mind, they can't even control their physical body just for a very short period of time. You know, when I went to the prison, I told the people in there, the prisoners, I said, you know, I believe you can do a lot of things in this world because you don't care about anything. That's why you committed to this type of crime in order for you to stay here. So I truly believe you could do even more, but there's one thing, only one thing that I'm pretty sure that none of you can do it. And they was concerned, raising their eyebrows on me. And I say, if you be able to sit still with me for 5 minutes, no move, just stay still, eyes closed, and focus with your breath going in and out, aware of each breath going in and out. Do not move. Whatever you want, I will fulfill yours. Within 1 minute, there's people open their eyes. Looking around, things like that, the whole time. They can't stay still. Why is that? This one is keep on jumping here and there, can never rest. And this body acted after the same way because of the habit. They have built that habit for so long, and we are living in this world based on habit. Seeing so much like that, and I always ask myself, what can a monk do to help the people? What can a Buddhist monk do to help? And I was thinking, of course I already made the vow to do the Dhamma JPI project already. that one already happened. And so I asked myself, what else can I do? What else can I do? Because that project will take a very long time to complete. And I don't know if I'll be able to complete it within this lifetime either. And so what can I do to help the people when they suffer so much like this? And I always keep on thinking that way until I think, okay, can I walk? Can I walk to raise the awareness of peace to the people? But in order for people to have peace, of course, they have to practice mindfulness. If you don't practice mindfulness, there will be no peace, for sure. Because peace begins from within, that I already explained, right? And so, I make that vow. I will walk whenever I have that chance to raise awareness of peace to the people who I meet along the road. And I wasn't expect that turnout. I did. But somehow it turned out like that. So I don't even know why and what have I done. Now I'm not me before anymore. Everywhere I go, sometimes I can't do things that I want anymore. Last week when we were in India, I tell you the funny story. My team at night time, we reached to Kusinara, which is the place where the Buddha cremation passing away. And my team, when we arrived, they wanted to go shopping because they want to try street food and they want to see all those shop fabrics and saw and things like that. So, and if I don't go, they don't want to go. So I said, okay, I will go with you. Just walk, just to enjoy. So I said, I'm gonna walk with a little